パゴスを守るために、学校を守るために、絶対に負けられない。お願い、テラスタル、満開に輝いて。ニャローテ。
What's going on, trainers? Episode 66 of Pokemon Horizons. And my friends, I love watching episodes like this one. Episode 66 is another great example of growth between all three of our characters, mainly Liko, but this also really did exemplify some growth in Dot and even in Roy. A little less Roy, but I would really say this was Liko's episode. Now, this episode was all focused around the explorers coming in and infiltrating the school, finding out that Augusta, whatever, was, infiltrating and pretending to be a teacher as part of the explorers, trying to teach or trying to steal information on the Terapagos based on what, Principal Clavel had on Terapagos and stuff. Unfortunately, they were still successful in stealing the information, but Liko and group were successful at making sure that nothing really occurred or happened to the school. Now, where the growth sections come in, I'm going to kind of make my way backwards. So we had Roy against Sandwich. I forget what her real name is, but we had Roy against Sandwich. We had Liko against Onyx, and then we had Dot face down against Agate or whatever her name is. And with Roy, what ended up happening is he was just able to I thought this was going to be a moment, actually, where Fuecoco was going to evolve. But he was able to push Fuecoco, push him to his limits, push the flamethrower to his limits, and he was able to overcome and defeat Sandwich, with the Blizzard versus the flamethrower, and pretty much kind of like overcome and defeat this Pokemon with his type advantage. So I thought that was a really good thing. And another W for our boy Roy, and I thought that was a pretty good thing. Now with Dot worked in tandem with Penny and her were able to figure out that the school was being infiltrated, the school was being hacked, and they were able to kind of trace back where the information was being stolen out of and kind of hone it down to a specific amount of areas. Now, where Dot's growth come in doesn't necessarily come from battle. It comes from a socialistic norm. Now, what I mean by that is Dot, she's a very awkward girl. Like, she's a very introverted girl, although she has a big extroverted personality in Nidothing. She goes out there, she has a YouTube channel, she has something inside that is just bursting at the seams, but her core personality, her core person outside of the persona that she has is very introverted, very shy. So for Dot, it really is becoming, friends with Penny and finding somebody like-minded, like interest, like intelligence-wise, like basically finding somebody on her level from those kinds of aspects and, seemingly becoming friends with them. And I really like the way that Dot and Penny's natural friendship has come to be. And I think her growth is from that kind of more person-to-person growth as opposed to like Liko or Roy. It comes more from like the Pokemon trainer and Pokemon aspect. Her is more kind of socialistic. Now, she was still able to hold her own against the teacher. She was still able to outsmart her, using her Pokemon. She was able to kind of find ways to kind of overcome that situation, ultimately still kind of failing because the information, even though that she was really, sneaky about it, the information was still able to get pulled as they needed. But I think her growth was really awesome to see, and I just love seeing her grow as a character because she just slowly come out of her shell. She no longer pulls back her hair like she used to have to adopt again another persona to kind of overcome challenges and stuff. Although I do kind of still want to see her pull back her hair because I think that's a really cool thing, kind of like when Ash flips back his cap. But still, I think it's just a really cool thing to see for Dot and her growth. Just as the seasons, and the cores and the show has gone on, I think Dot is like outside of Liko. I think Dot is the most interesting character of the show, and I just kind of love everything that she brings to the table. Now for Liko, her growth was exponential here. At the end of it, she was recognized by Grusha. Grusha was able to witness her kind of really figuring out what Liko fights for, what she battles for, and she's really battling for not herself, but for others, protecting the school, protecting her morals, protecting her pride. She's really fighting for other things outside of just selfish desires. And Grusha was able to recognize that, and he was able to award her, and pass her the terastalization stuff. I love how it happened. But Liko ended up facing against, what was it, Sandwich and Pickles or whatever, but Onyx, I guess is his name. And she was able to, face down his Garganackle. And, we had Florigato face them, and she was holding her own, and eventually she was able to go in and use terastalization. And they changed the animation. Instead of like before where she was like that, she was kind of like, oh, we need to fight together. And she had like this little speech. And it was the cutest thing ever. And she was like, oh, she kind of like just her whole animation changed. And I was like, yes, it was like she was just kind of like pulling from like her own spirit to say like, okay, we're going to terastalize and overcome this. And she used the magical leaf, and, Florigato was able to kind of, manipulate the magical leaf in the way that it was able to go. And they were able to not only defeat, but overcome Garganackle, again, utilizing their type advantage in this case, but also just that pure power and bond between them. So her growth as a character and as a Pokemon trainer and as a terastalization expert all grew in this episode. And I love seeing Liko excited. She's just such a awesome character, and I just love being able to see it each week. And I just thought like this episode was just a really feel good episode. It was a growth episode. It had really cool battles this episode. I just loved it overall. I thought it was really good. And then now they announced next week's episode, we're going to have Liko versus Roy in the kind of like one-on-one battles and stuff. So that's going to be exciting too, to kind of see these two show down. Obviously, Liko's going to be at a type advantage, but Roy's going to be at a leveling advantage because, Florigato has evolved already. So maybe next week we'll see Roy's Fuecoco evolve potentially, but regardless, it's going to be really cool. So overall, this episode 66, exactly what I love. More of Pokemon Horizons, more top-notch, top-tier Pokemon Horizons, and fantastic character growth and writing. Last thing I'll say before I let you guys go, the ED, as we have now moved into the next core, the ED changed this episode as well too. And I thought the ED was just chef's kiss, really, really good, really cute stuff. I do like the before, the before the one that they had, but this one was really good as well too. I like all the different colors, like highlighter colors and stuff. I thought it was really cool. So ED, top notch as well. So let me know what you guys think about this episode in the comments down below. And my friends, my trainers, my fellow Pokemon masters, I'll see you guys next week for episode 67. And as an FYI, we'll probably be coming up on a skip week here pretty soon as well, too. So just FYI there. I think at the end of this month, we'll come up on an official skip week, too, as we move into the next Rayquaza arc or whatever. So anyways, I'll see you guys then, my friends. Peace.